Good evening and happy Monday. Welcome back, you guys. I am Tremaine from Mind Over Money. And this is part of our Get Your Money Right 21-day challenge group where I post things personal finance related. And so welcome to our first Monday since daylight savings. It's getting darker earlier. And it makes me feel like a little bit tired earlier in the day, but we are going to press on. This month in the group, we are talking about ways to save money and different cost-saving strategies, different things you can do to cut back on expenses. And what came to my mind was a conversation that needs to be had, and that oftentimes it's not that we need to cut back expenses, it's that we just don't have enough income. And so I wanted to talk about the difference between like mismanaging your financial resources versus just not having enough income. And I think one of the key things that we need to talk about when we speak on this is this idea of underemployment and what that means. And so underemployment take into account a lot of different factors. It could be that people have work, but the work they are in doesn't utilize all the skills that they have. So like they're in a full-time job, but it is a low-skilled job where they have more skills, more experience and expertise than the job they're working in. Or maybe they are, working a part-time job, but like they really desire full-time employment. So these are two key pieces that I want to talk about, and like how that affects what you might perceive yourself to, like the kind of situation where you might perceive yourself to be mismanaging your finances, when the truth could be that you really just don't have enough income to support all the expenses that you have. And so this underemployment thing, and so right now in the US, there's about 12.9% of people who are underemployed. And so that's a big deal, right? So we have folks that are seeking employment and like they want to utilize all their skills and like get the pay that they deserve, but they have jobs where they're not making enough money. And so this is one thing that can contribute to folks being in poverty and not reaching their financial goals, that they just don't have enough income. So there's been some surveys taken, and a recent study that I was looking at said that of folks that are part-time employed, 65% of them want full-time employment that make less than $30,000, like as a household, which is a big deal. So it's not that we have a lot of folks who just are cool with not having money. Like they really want to improve their financial situation and get jobs and have more full-time employment. So I think it's important that we address this issue and talk about like what that means for people who are trying to build better financial futures for themselves. And like, if this is you, steps you can take toward improving your financial outlook. And so one key thing is identifying is like, are you in that situation? And I had to have a real honest conversation with myself, because I had a client who, her situation looked kind of bleak, but I was like, no, we can fix this. But the truth was, no matter how many expenses we cut, if we cut off cable, if we decided, well, hey, you got to cut your discretionary spending down to $20 this month, all the cutting back still wasn't enough, because she just did not have enough income to support herself. And I think that's a lot of some of our issues, is that, we could cut back as many expenses as we want, but if we are not generating enough income, we're not going to dig ourselves out of the situation that we're in. And so the difference between mismanaging your finances that you have and like not having enough income is that in one case, you have enough income coming in, and it's just that you are not appropriating your funds correctly. The other instance is that you're not making enough to support the expenses that you have. And so when you're trying to fix your financial situation, it's important to know which category you fall in, because one of them absolutely needs to be, okay, I need to generate more income. I need to find a job or career or some sort of stream that produces more income. And the other is, okay, maybe I need more income, but I could really benefit from cutting back expenses. And so when you're talking about, fixing your financial picture and working towards improving your financial outlook, you have to figure out, like, take an honest assessment. Am I mismanaging my funds, or do I need a job that gives me more money? And I think this has been addressed before in the group where, that's a tough conversation to have when we are talking about financial planning, is that a lot of times people think that people who are, in poverty or low income earners is just that, well, you don't have money because you don't manage your finances properly. And that could be the case sometimes, but sometimes it's that, I'm underemployed and I don't even make enough money to cover my basic needs. And so I just wanted to put that conversation out on the table and get us thinking about that when we have these conversations, that we are not talking about things out of context. So that's a little tip that I want to talk about for tonight. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday, and I will see you next week.